Hello kids, welcome along to the show. It's Chris Reardon with you, United Kingdom Talk, on a rather cold day today. You may have noticed the shirt and the t-shirt have disappeared. And I'm sitting here, still in the garden of course, being summer. We must try and be out in the garden as much as possible. But I'm sitting here today in a rather warm, white hooded top. And I just want to point out that today's show is not actually sponsored by Lonsdale, which is emblazoned right across the top of the white top I've got on today in gold lettering. This is not an advert for Lonsdale. I am looking rather chavvy today. That's an English term, which you may not know if you're in the States. Looking rather chavvy, do you think? Eh? We've got the hood as well. Look, it's all rather frightening, you know. I have a feeling I'm looking a bit like a gangster today. What we need now is gold chains. And as always, gang, if you want to send anything like that in, please make sure it's so many carats. We don't want anything of low quality, please. Please don't start sending in gold-plated chains or anything like that. Save yourself the embarrassment of having your name mentioned. So-and-so sent me in a gold-plated chain. We're not having any of that, please. Only high-carat gold. Now, don't ask me about jewellery, because I know nothing about it. You must have noticed, anyone who's watched the show for a while now, that I don't actually wear any jewellery. Okay? Rings, I can't stand them. You put them on your finger, and I just can't stand them. Is anyone else like that? The only bit of jewellery I have on is my little emerald thing that I got my mum, and she gave me back to me just before she left this world, and a little gold cross that I have in there, that was my mum's as well. That is the only jewellery I wear. No watches, no rings, no earrings. I did have earrings once. Oh yes. Pardon? No, not clip-ons. I had hoops. I had hoops. I remember I remember coming back to mum and dad's house. That would have been, I think I was about 16 or 17 at the time, and I went out and I had these gold hoops, and they said I looked like a gypsy. Gypsy Lee Reardon, would you like to buy some of my heather? Well, actually, I've got some nice little blue flowers here. 1 minute. There we are, I'll just pick one there. Hello, it's Gypsy Lee Reardon. Would you like to buy some of my flowers? And they just put it in your hand, don't they, and wish you good luck. Eh? Does it bring you good luck? Maybe you have bought heather from a gypsy before, have you? And has it brought you good luck? Let me know if it has. There's an email address to the show. It's Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, whenever I start doing this show, just before I start doing it, sometimes I get nervous. Sometimes I think, oh, what am I going to talk about? And today, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to come and say hello to you today. Isn't that funny? What's all that about, eh? I suppose it's a bit like going to visit people. Sometimes you think you're a little bit full of anticipation, aren't you? Did you like that word? Yes, I'm going to try and introduce, new to the show, a long word on every programme. I hope that wasn't rain I just felt then, because otherwise we're going to have to move in. And you know me, once I've started the show, do you know, I think that is rain. Is there any drops anywhere? My friend in London just rang me and said it was pouring down with rain there. Now, usually, if that's happening in London, we'll get it about 20 minutes later. And I'm a bit concerned that it's going to start raining. And especially, I can only hear a couple of birds singing, which indicates to me there's a nasty storm on it. Yes, it is. It's spitting. We'll carry on as long as we can. And if not, we'll have to move inside to the living room. Okay? Alright, because that is dripping. Oh dear. This could be fun. The show on the move. You've heard about it in radio studios before, when the radio studio goes wrong and I have to move to another one. I think we might have to do that today. We can either go into the living room or into the kitchen. Where do you fancy coming? Eh? Any idea? Living room or kitchen? We'll see how we go, because it's only spitting at the moment. Now, I want to spend most of the show, or if not all of the show today, on emails, because there's quite a few here that have built up over the last couple of weeks. So we're going to go straight into those now, my darlings. All right, what was I telling you about? Oh yes, Gypsy Lee Reardon. Gypsy Chris Reardon. If you want any heather at all, then Don't cross my palm with silver. Please send cheques or postal orders to United Kingdom Talk, PO Box 4073, Bracknell RG 429ED. Yes, there is a postal address. If you ever want to write in rather than email, you can do so. I'll give you the postal address at some point throughout the show. All right? Right then, as I promised, straight into the emails today. First of all, we've had a couple coming in from our friend Susan. You know Susan? She's the one who's got a great big bobcat as a pet, and it sleeps with her. And she also, for her job, looks after proper cats like tigers and lions. Also, and she sent in the most fantastic photos you've ever seen. Susan is now a regular correspondent to the programme. We need more regular correspondents in other parts of the world, I think. We've got quite a few in the United States of America, although you can never have enough. If you're in the US of A, then please... Oh, that would be one of my guard dogs. Oh yes, yeah, surrounded by guard dogs here. We don't want to be attacked by other jealous podcasters or radio people, or indeed YouTube people while we're doing the show, do we? We don't want to be attacked by others, so I have to surround my property. It's more like a ranch. How can I describe my property so you would understand something on... Oh yeah, so, like Southwark in Dallas, only bigger. And without the sand. You're having a laugh, aren't you? I wish. I'd like a bit of land, actually. About the same size house, but a big bit of land with... I tell you what I would like, a conservatory, like a glass conservatory, and I'd love to do my shows from in there. So even in the winter, you would kind of be outside, wouldn't you? Eh? Anyway, let's do the emails then. Hello to Susan. Hello, Susan. She sent me in 3 emails here, all coming up in succession. Oh, four, all coming up in succession, Susan. Sorry you've had to wait, my darling. You sent this in on the 8th of May. Now, do you remember I said to you when I was a very small boy, about 6, 7, 8 years old, I always remember we had a flat in Peckham, which is in South East London. Bit of a rough place now, but nevertheless it was all right while we was there. And we had a flat, and outside of this flat we had a balcony with a window box. And I remember once, as a small boy, watering the window box and seeing a very small little seahorse. I am convinced I saw this. This was not a dream, okay? I was watering the window box and I saw a seahorse, and I mentioned this a few shows ago. And Susan says, I'm at work, Chris, so I can't write for long. Why is this? Oh, of course, the cats need feeding. Yep. Feed those lions and tigers, Susan, otherwise they might eat you, my love. And then who's going to write to me, dear? Susan says, but I wanted to comment on the seahorse that you saw. Yes, I have an idea about what you saw. You actually did see it. She says, frequencies. Now listen to this. Very interesting, this. People only see objects within a small frequency range. The same is true for our hearing. For example, a dog whistle. Okay? Only dogs can hear that, can't they? We don't hear anything, but the dog will react to the whistle. The same is true of our vision. This is why some people see ghosts and others do not. I'm not a Bible beater, but this subject is mentioned in the Bible in Corinthians. So listen to this now, 12:7. That's the chapter and the thing in the Bible, okay? But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. 12:8. For to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit. 12:9. To another faith by the same Spirit, to another the gifts of healing by the same Spirit. Alright, so what you're saying there is some people can heal, some people can do this, some people can do that, almost like a talent. Is a talent the same thing as this? The talent is a gift, isn't it? Okay? I can play piano, David Beckham can play football. But I bet he can't play the piano, and I certainly can't play football. Mozart was a great composer. I shall never be a great composer. But could Mozart have sat here and spoken to you for an hour? Don't know. Interesting, isn't it? And just like another couple, 12:10. To another, the working of miracles. To another, prophecy. To another, discerning of spirits, seeing the ghosts. To another, divers kinds of tongues. that could be me, couldn't it? I could be the one with the tongue, couldn't I? To another, the interpretation of tongues. Eh? I think interpretation, different languages, is fantastic. I know one person who can just learn languages like that. She can speak so many languages, French, Italian, all the normal ones, all that, well, I say the normal ones, all the European ones that we are all taught at school. But she can also speak Mandarin, Punjabi. Amazing. And that's one of her talents. Something that I could only dream of doing that. I'd love to be able to do this show and go in and out of different languages right the way through it. Can you imagine what an appeal that would have? And I think when you're in foreign countries, even if you only know a couple of words, people do appreciate it when you try and speak in their native tongue, don't they? And one more here, 12:11. But all these worketh that one and self-same Spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will. So very interesting there, Susan. And she reckons I did see this little seahorse, but it was on another frequency. And perhaps, as a child, we can see things that we can't see as adults. How many of you remember, I wonder, being young and the excitement of wondering what it's like to grow up? The worry, how does someone get a job? How does someone buy a house? And you eventually do these things, don't you? But I think sometimes you come out of the youth and into reality, and it's not always nice, is it? How many of us over, I don't know, the age of 35 would dearly love to turn the clock back? But how far would you like to turn it back? I think I remember in my 20s saying to my mum, would you like to be a teenager again? And she said no. And I couldn't understand that at the time. She said, I'd like to be 30 again. I remember Mum saying that. Do you know, I can hear church bells, can you? Listen. I definitely heard church bells then. Where are they coming from? What's going on? Can you hear that or not? Or can you only hear the birds singing? Anyway, Mum says she'd rather be 30. And I couldn't understand that. Now I'm 45. Certainly some of the youngsters now, while I'm DJing somewhere or something like that, I bet you'd like to be our age again. Absolutely not. No, thank you. My teens and my 20s were not particularly good for me. However, given the choice, exactly the same as my mum, I'd like to be between the ages of 30 and 39 again. I do believe that was for me my best age, the period of time where I think I enjoyed life really a lot. I think I was going to say I had more energy then, but I'm not so sure, because I didn't do the exercise that I do now, what with the walking and the swimming and that sort of thing. But certainly, yeah, I think 30 to 39. What about you? How old are you? And if you could push a button, how old would you like to be? Would you like to turn the clock back, perhaps, if you're over a certain age? Or are you a young person, maybe in your teens now, or even younger, and you'd like to turn the clock forward? Where would you like to be? What age would you like to be? Let us know on the email, okay? It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now listen, I can hear those bells. Can you hear that or not? It's ever so quiet. Well, I've got to say, I've never ever heard church bells while I've been here in Bracknell since 1992. I have never sat in the garden and heard church bells, so I don't know where they're coming from. Maybe someone's installed them in their house. Now there's an idea. Church bells and a clock tower in my garden. I like the sound of that, lovey, eh? Susan also writes here to say, I think frequencies and ghosts would be an interesting topic. I used to be a non-believer in these things and laughed my head off when people mentioned strange experiences, until some strange things happened to me. Yeah, it's quite often, Susan, that it takes strange things to make people believe in certain things. I myself has had many different experiences, some unexplained, some nice. I've told the story a couple of times, just directly after my father's funeral in January 1996. I remember sitting in his armchair, and I have told this story a couple of times before, and straight after the funeral, and all these people were in the house. Mum was in the kitchen doing sandwiches and tea and that sort of thing, and all the relatives were in, and I was sitting there in Dad's chair, and I felt what I thought was my uncle suddenly pushed down on my shoulders like that. And when I turned around, there was no one there, and immediately I knew that was my dad. Straight after Mum's funeral, I came back here, had a walk around outside, I think, and it was either that night or the next day. I was in the Mirable Studios, actually, where there's all pictures of my family on the wall straight in front of me, which I don't think I've ever shown you those, have I? Next time we're in the studio, if I remember, I'll take some film of actually in the studio so you can see what else is in there, okay? And it's not anything particularly expensive or anything like that, just a few pictures on the wall, a couple of computers, microphones, that sort of thing. And straight after my mum's funeral, either that night or the next day, as I say, I was sitting, I think I went into the office, and as I went in, her picture just flew off the wall. It wasn't in a frame or anything, it was just like a piece of, a picture, like a piece of paper stuck on the wall with a bit of sellotape. Now, of course, one could say that it wasn't stuck up there properly, but why is it that at that moment it fell off? Another incident. I was working in a very famous pub in London. This would have been about 12 years ago, the Vauxhall Tavern in Vauxhall, which is still there now. And I just finished work, and I wanted to stay behind and do some wiring with the speakers, because I can do all those bits and pieces, and it needed to be done. And I decided to get myself a glass of water from behind the bar. And this particular experience wasn't that nice. As I went behind the bar and I walked past all these bottles, and a load of them just suddenly flew out of the shelf as I walked past, and I thought, you don't really want me here. That's the impression I got straight away, and shortly, a few weeks after that, I found reason to leave. Don't know why, didn't want me there, okay? In another place in Camden that I worked for 18 years, there was an occasion where I was standing in the DJ box and someone tapped me on the shoulder like that, and I turned around and there was no one there. So interesting. Here in my house, other people have had experiences here, generally the feeling that they're not wanted. Okay? Some people hear noises in my bedroom when there's no one there. One person has felt a cold, freezing blast of air go across them while I was sitting at my piano, while I was out. Me, I've not had any experiences at all in this house, except to say that I feel very attached to this house. Very, very attached. Much to the point that sometimes I do think about moving up to my sister's, as you know, as I've mentioned very many times. But I'm not sure that I can ever do it. I don't feel I could ever leave this house. It feels part of me. I feel very welcome, very warm in there. So interesting. Maybe the house wants me and I want the house. I know it's not a physical person, but you see, Susan, just a couple of experiences there. And there's been another couple. A friend and I, this would have been 25 years ago, maybe a bit longer. We were going to visit someone in a block of flats. Now, in this block of flats, there are 2 lifts, okay? Because it's about, I think it's about 8 stories high. It's 2 lifts. You use either one or the other. As we were approaching the house, the flats rather, we saw someone get in the left-hand lift. The doors closed as we got there. So we pushed the button, the same doors opened, and there was no one in the lift. Okay? I said nothing. Neither did my friend. And then we went upstairs to my other friend's house. This was someone that we knew from CB radio, because back in those days, here in the UK, a lot of people, this would have been around about 1980, 1981, 1982, 1983, around there. And CB radio was big, and you used to get to meet people and new friends and what have you. And we went up to this bloke's house with he had a wife and 2 children. And we're just sitting there doing things. He says, well, you never guess what happened last week. And we said, what? He said, oh, someone chucked himself over the balcony and died. And at that point, I got this icy cold feeling in my back. And I looked at my mate, and my mate looked at me. We didn't say any more. Okay? So the night continued. And then eventually it was time to go home. So we left the house. And when we were in the lift, I said, did you see anyone else get in this lift earlier? And he looked at me. He said, what do you mean? I said, I'm sure I saw someone get in this lift earlier, but when we got here and the door opened, there was no one here. He said, I saw that as well, but I didn't want to say anything in case you thought I was stupid. So there we are. Couple of experiences there. If you've got any experiences to tell us like that, then I think we could do a whole show on that one. Do let us know. Email address as always, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Perhaps you've lost someone close at some point in your life. Did you ever get any experiences that made you think they're still out there? Let me know about it. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Perhaps you have lost someone and not had these experiences. That's not to say they won't happen. Maybe we shouldn't look for these things, they just happen. I certainly wasn't looking for any of those things. On the occasions where perhaps I've been somewhere thinking to myself, oh, I wish I could see a ghost or something like that, which I have done, you see nothing. It's when you least expect it. It's a bit like when people always say to you, you'll never find love if you're looking for it. Well, maybe you never find ghost if you're looking for him or her. You just have to wait. Let me know anything like that, okay? chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Susan goes on to say, I then started reading everything after a few things happened to her, strange things. I started reading everything I could find on the subject. I emailed a few of the scientists who had wrote various books, and they actually wrote back to me. Believe it or not, they say that about 60% of the population has had paranormal experiences. So why does it remain such a taboo subject? Don't know. Don't know, Susan. Here in the UK, we can talk about experiences like that. If I was to do a show on something paranormal, like tarot card reading or something like that, then I would have to do the show rather than as a serious subject, as like a entertainment type thing. I wouldn't be allowed to do anything like that. So there we are. Susan also says, Albert Einstein says, energy never dies. Is that a cat there? Is that you, Katie? Katie! I think two of the cats are fighting. Did you hear that? Dear me. She'd come over in a minute with her tail. Katie! Did you hear that? The cats are having a fight then. Well, it all happens out here, doesn't it? Yeah, Albert Einstein says, energy never dies, it just changes form. I like to believe that as well. She says, Chris, take for instance water. You can boil it. It turns to vapour. Is it really gone? Of course it's not, is it? It changes into steam, the steam disappears in the atmosphere. It becomes part of the atmosphere. Doesn't it? When we die, depending on how you decide to have your bits and pieces done, if you're buried, do we not become plants and worms? And as we be eaten by other plants and worms, eventually, perhaps to turn back into humans again, somewhere else along the line, but never the same one that we were. Susan goes on to say, I'm going to take another stab about educating you on your allergy injections. Do you remember Susan has suggested that I have allergy injections, and incidentally someone else has wrote in about the subject of the allergies, which I'll hang on a minute, I'm going to bring that one forward because that'll kind of work on from that email then, won't it? Where is it now? Bum, bum. You see there's quite a few emails here today. Oh, I can't find it now. Did we not print that one off? Oh, how annoying. I might not have printed that one off. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. That's it. Lovely. Bring that one forward a bit. Susan says, on the allergy injections, they do not give you drugs in these shots. What they do, I assume that there's some sort of drug in there. What they do is make a serum containing small amounts of what you are allergic to. For example, my serum contained cat and dog dander, feathers, grass, etc. They inject a tiny amount under your skin. It is raining now, actually. Oh dear. And gradually, shall I just get the... I'll tell you what I could do. I could get the umbrella and carry on. Shall I get the umbrella? They inject a tiny amount under your skin and gradually increase the dosage. This way you build up your immunity to what you are allergic to. Right now you are just treating the symptoms. For example, with the, you know, with the asthma thing that I have, that thing that's just treating the symptoms. Why not cure the problem instead? I think you're right. But I bet you are like my sister, who is a nurse, and my mum. Both are bald-headed and still enduring years of sniffling and snorting. Like that, are they? I do not show them any sympathy anymore. Oh, you're a harsh woman, Susan. You're a harsh woman. And where's my tiger fur that you promised me? Be a big, brave boy and go for the shots, she said, the injections. You would feel so much better, and they really don't hurt. It's just a pinprick. How many times have we heard that, dear, at the dentist? Oh, it's just a little prick. Do me a favour. Oh, well, that's the worst one in a dentist, isn't it? When you have that in your mouth, that great long injection. Mind you, the last time I went to the dentist, I didn't have the injection. He said to me, "Do you want me to try it without the injection? Because it's only a small filling." I said, "Well, go on then." You know, because it's so much better than walking around with a mouth out here 2 miles wide, dribbling for the rest of the day, isn't it? Oh, we hate the dentist injections. She says, so enough said. I will stop being a mother hen and will not mention this subject again. But I will not show any sympathy for your wheezing and whining either. Bye for now, Susan. She's a harsh woman. Oh, Susan, you're very harsh, dear. Harsh, my love, harsh. Shall I give you the postal address now? If you want to put pen to paper, it's Chris Reardon, United Kingdom Talk. P.O. Do I need to get? I need to get that umbrella. P.O. Box 4073, Bracknell, Bracknell, RG 429ED. All right, Chris Reardon, United Kingdom Talk. P.O. Box 4073. Bracknell, Bracknell, RG 429ED, United Kingdom. Okay, now, just a second. I'm not even sure I've got an umbrella out there. Just a second, let me see if I've got one. And then we can carry on. Oh, the cat's moved inside as well. Oh, yeah, we have. It's all right, everyone. I found an umbrella. Here we are. That's it. Marvellous. Oh. Well, this is the first. Doing a radio show under an umbrella. It's quite pleasant, actually. Although I'm not sure. How am I going to hold this thing? That's the thing. That's the trouble. Not quite sure how we're going to do this now. It needs to be held up somehow, doesn't it? Maybe it'll stay up there, will it? Oh, I'm not sure this is going to work after all. Oh, how annoying. Oh, we'll try. We'll try and carry on. Is it raining? It's actually stopped now, I think. 1 minute. Yes, it's stopped again. Ah, that's what I need. Can I just make a quick phone call? Just a minute. Stay there a minute. I reckon I'll be able to get what I need free of charge here. So, 1 second. I'm just going to put a bit of paper on this microphone here because that's what's getting wet. Okay, you're a little bit of a rustling sound here. There we are. That's sorted that out, I think. Because we don't want our expensive equipment to get wet. Now, I know what I need. I need one of those pub umbrellas. So let's just ring my friend here. And we'll be able to do this on the cheap, you know what I mean? Oh, we don't buy anything unless it's necessary. I could have one of those, what's those outside things? Gazebos. They're not expensive, but the trouble is it covers all, when the sun's out, it covers all the sun and all that business then, doesn't it? Which is a shame, really, if you want to keep the sun out like that. Oh, he's not answering now. This is Justin, who runs the steam coach where I work on Friday nights. He's bound to have an umbrella there. Let's just Hello, Justin. Just in the middle of one of my shows in the garden. Sorry to trouble you, but my listeners need to know: can you possibly provide me so that we can continue doing shows in the rain? Okay, can you provide me with one of those big pub umbrellas? Now, I've got a wooden table with a hole in the middle, and I think it would just pop down there, the little umbrella, and then I could continue giving my gorgeous friends, loyal listeners and viewers, continue giving them the experience of the outdoor countryside here in Royal Berkshire. Do you have a spare one, or do I need to spend some of my hard-earned money? Please don't make me spend any money, please. Have you got a spare one? Thank you very much. Goodbye. Fingers crossed he'll get back to me on that one. Yes. So we'll have a little umbrella. That was a good idea, wasn't it, eh? Right. Let's on similar subject here. This is from Rose. Hello, Rose. Now, Rose is still one of the quiz players where I used to do the quiz on Wednesday nights, the one I recently gave up. Well, we've got an idea actually that we're going to try and do the quiz by video Skype. Now, what's video Skype? I can hear Joy screaming at me, oh, don't start doing technology. Don't worry, Joy, I will explain to you, my darling. Video Skype is where I would have a camera and a microphone here in the Mirable Studios, as I have already, okay? And at the other end, Justin at the steam coach would pick me up on his computer and I would read the questions out and it would go on all the screens in there. And we could do the quiz from here. Huh? That'd be a bit of catness. You see, the thing is, no one does that. No one's ever done that. So I'm quite a little bit... I can hear music. I can hear those bells again. Can you hear the bells? Actually, I'm not at my own funeral or anything, am I? Am I really here? I must pinch myself. Oh, that hurt. I quite enjoyed that, actually. I think I'll do it again. Yeah, so no one's... As far as we know, no one's ever done this. Quiz by video. So we really want to do that. I hope he doesn't think he's getting it for nothing, though. I will still have to charge him my usual rate, I'm afraid. I cannot prostitute my services. Beg your pardon, dear. We need them. I've got 2 cats to feed here. One who's probably... She hasn't come back. Katie! She hasn't come back yet. I should probably have to take her down the vet later, as she's just had a fight. Anyway, Rose writes, long time no communicate. Rose, I know you're still there, darling. Don't you worry about it, my love. I love you still. As your lovely husband, Guy, and your family, I hope they're all well. She says, I'm dreadful, I know, but my email at work has been very erratic, like me, dear. I'm an erratic person. And when I get home, the last thing I want to be doing is sitting at the computer. Do you know what, Rose? Every night after work, I used to come back here straight on the computer to check emails. I've stopped doing that now. Only if I absolutely have to do something on there for the next day do I turn it on. I now come in from work, I make tea, I have my toast. I always have a cup of tea, a bit of toast with some margarine and olive oil spread and marmalade on, and I sit down and I watch half an hour of telly. I no longer come in, and for years I did that, and I sleep better as well. So I know what you mean, my love. She says, this is the second time I've written this email. Did it work this afternoon? I did it at work this afternoon and it got lost. Well, I've been lost all my life, Rose. I shouldn't worry about that, my love. I've got a fantastic lost story that I think I told a couple of years ago. I was once a scout leader, and one day we took a group of scouts. I was like that's when I was quite a young scout leader. I was about 20, I think, at the time, and we took a group of scouts to Box Hill, which is in Surrey. You might know it. And they gave us compasses and map, and we had to find our way back. Well, I'm sorry, dear. I got completely and totally lost. I am not good map and compass. I'm just not very good at it. And we ended up, fortunately, eventually we found our way to a road and just walked along it. And we were lucky that we were going in. Of course, we didn't know what direction we were going in. I didn't have a clue. And we didn't get back to the van till about 11 o'clock at night. And we should have got back there at 9 o'clock. Oh, it was dreadful. And when we got back to the scout hut, all these parents, this has got to be 20, 30, this is 25 years ago, maybe 26. I might be 19 or 20 at the time. We got back to the scout with all these parents all angry. Well, they weren't angry so much, just worried that their little cherubs had gone missing, which useless. That's why I've spent so much money years ago on a sat nav. I bought my sat nav. Which is the don't worry, Joy, I'm explaining, dear. Sat nav, dear. Joy, the sat nav. Was I explaining something else to you, Joy, a minute ago? Oh, I'm sure I didn't finish it, did I? Oh, I've lost the plot again, dear. Sat nav, that's the little thing that you put in your car and it tells you where to go. It's marvellous. It's a talking map. Okay, well, I bought mine about six years ago now. It cost me £700. Now, I know that sounds an awful lot of money. Indeed, it is an awful lot of money. But I don't regret paying that out because it's got me to and from my sisters to see her lovely children many, many times now. And also to other parts of the country where I would have difficulty finding my way around. So fantastic. You can now buy those. And I have seen those advertised now for £69. £69 they are. Fantastic. Got to be one of the best gadgets ever invented, that. The sat-nav. Fantastic. So that's what a sat-nav is, Joy. So I know what you mean by getting lost, Rose. She says, anyway, great idea of yours doing the quiz over the interweb. It's the internet, dear. It's the internet or the web. Come on, Rose. Get with it, dear. We'd love it if you can get the technology sorted out. Well, actually, Rose, we were supposed to do it yesterday, but Justin, manager of the steam coach, didn't. I think he forgot his plug-in. What is it called again? Dongle. That's it. I do like that. Katie, darling, are you hurt? Have you been having a fight? Was it you? Was you having a fight? Let me have a look at you, darling. Katie, where are you? Oh, she looks all right. No damage done. Why were you... Oh, she's got a bit wet there. I bet you've been scratched, haven't you? Why do you fight? Cats are always fighting, aren't they? Yeah, so Justin didn't bring his dongle in last night because I was hoping at least to start the setup of it, but we haven't got there yet. She said, Reese is looking forward to being able to hurl abuse at you when you can't respond. Oh, yes, I will be able to respond, my darling, because it's all live. It's not recorded. Okay, I will be here in the Mirable studio. Well, yeah, not in the garden, but in the Mirable studio, doing the quiz from there. Don't you worry, I'll be able to hear what's going on there, dear. It will be a two-way thing. Yes. Did Justin tell you we won the jackpot at last 2 weeks ago? Very nice. £250 you won. Now, did you spend it all at once? What have you done with your £250, Rose? I need to know, dear. Did you buy presents for yourself? Did you? Or did you invest it in a building society? Eh? You could start saving up for another house, dear. You could have loads of them, like me. Just a suggestion to you, dear. I mean, I shouldn't be telling you what to do with your money. She said, by the way, and this is why I've brought this email up so soon after the other one, we saw something on the television last week about cat allergy. The doctor said that most people are not allergic to the fur, but to the spit. Okay? Yes, apparently, now I've heard this before actually, Rose. Yes, apparently when cats groom themselves, the saliva dries on the coat, then gets spread into the air in tiny particles when it dries. Oh my God. I'm ingesting cat spit, am I? Oh, that's not nice. That's not nice, Rose. She says you can minimise the effect, it seems, by wiping your cats down with a damp cloth every now and again. I do it at the same time as the dusting. Well, no. Trouble is, I don't do dusting, Rose. My niece and his girlfriend were here a couple of months ago now. Yeah, well, that's the last time the dusting got done. Yeah, but not my niece, my nephew, rather. My nephew and his girlfriend. Did I say my niece and her girlfriend? No, she hasn't got a girlfriend. She's got a boyfriend. She's not that way, dear. She's not like her uncle, I'm afraid. but my nephew and his girlfriend, yeah, the girlfriend did clean the house while she was here. So it was worth them staying, really, wasn't it? Good job, I'm not allergic, she says. My little darling would have my arm off if I tried that. Well, cat. Yeah, they don't like the water, do they, cats? But they do like to be stroked. The long-haired one... Oh, incidentally, Rose, the long-haired one, who's asleep, actually, just on the kitchen floor there. She's gone into the kitchen. There's a little bit of rain coming down. You know her fur mats up? You remember the old one? She gets a lot of matted up fur. Well, it's all coming out at the moment with the brush. Now, I do brush her regular, but for some reason in the winter, the fur still mats up. Here in the summer, a lot of the fur is just dropping out on its own now, so that's good news. Although sometimes when I'm dropping her, it does... not drop... Did I say dropping her? Sometimes when I'm brushing her, the brush does still get stuck in bits of matted up fur, and when you pull it, she really doesn't like that. But what can you do? You know, it is for her own benefit, because I am of the general opinion that if you get the matted fur out, then the cat's... I mean, it might feel a bit tight to it. Would it feel a bit tight? If you had matted up hair, yeah, it would be pulling at your skin. So I think a quick brush and that little bit of pain for the cat, for the long-term benefit, is better. But it was actually 2 days ago I was brushing her, and this brush got started. I give it a good pull, and it will come through if you pull it. And she moaned. Oh, she did moan. You have to kind of hold her down with your other hand. And then she usually trots off, and 3 times she turned around and hissed at me. But they're funny, aren't they? 2 minutes later, she comes wandering back for strokes. So they know. I mean, if they, for one moment, they thought you were trying to hurt her purposely, I don't think she'd come back again, would she? They know it's... I'm sure she knows it's for her own benefit. So there we are, Rose. She says, also, listening to your show a couple of weeks ago at the gym tonight. Oh, she listens at the gym. Does our Rose? Oh, yes. Very fit is our Rose. She says she was on the cross trainer and treadmill while watching the cricket. Oh, my God, you don't watch cricket, do you, Rose? I can't think of anything more boring, or possibly golf is more boring than that. But cricket, I mean, what? I don't understand it. How do you win 75 overs for 3 not out? What on earth does that mean? Please tell me. I can't work it out here. I mean, I don't like football, but you understand. If Chelsea and Liverpool are 1-0, then Chelsea are winning. Okay? If Manchester United and Newcastle are 1-4, then Newcastle's winning by 4. It's Justin. Let's see if there's this will be Justin on the phone now. Hello. Oh, I'm just in the middle of doing my show, and it's starting to rain. Is it possible that you have a spare one of those big umbrellas that drop through the middle of my table? A nice antique one. It doesn't matter about that. Will the colours match my garden though? That's the thing. Thank you very much. I'll have that Friday then. Thank you very much. Au revoir. Bye. There we are. We've got one. How marvellous is that? We will continue throughout all weathers to sit here and do the shows. Because remember, was it David on the last show? He wants me throughout the year, at least once every few weeks, to come out into the garden, even in the winter. So I'll have to sit here wrapped up in a blanket or something, but we will do that. We're going to do that throughout the year so you can see the changing seasons and what have you. Although my garden here is pretty evergreen, okay? I'm surrounded by cypri, landii things or whatever they're called. There's holly, a lot of this stuff. It doesn't die, it's green most of the time. Although I would like a bit more colour out here. There's not much colour out in the garden. Rose says, you asked about famous record deck turntable manufacturers. My dad used to work for a company called Garrard. Yeah, I definitely remember them, who made the best in the country. They certainly did. Probably the world in the 50s and the 60s. I remember Garrard. Don't know what happened to them when they got taken over in the 60s. We had a turntable of theirs for years. Brilliant. Yeah, well, that stuff just goes on, doesn't it? Never seems to wear out. The only things that wear out on these turntables seem to be the needle, and they've either got a rubber band belt underneath what turns the turntable, or a lot of them had a little rubber wheel. So the turntable would be around the outside, and they have a wheel, and the little rubber wheel would turn, and in turn turn the turntable, and that used to wear out, didn't it? She says, hope to see you soon, either in person or on the Steam Coach Quiz channel. Thank you, Rose. Lovely to hear from you, my darling. And we are hoping to get that done. Also, one of our friends and listeners sent me a MySpace message. Now, I think this was from our friend Audio Freak from YouTube as well. And he sent me pictures here of a BSR turntable, and it says, here is a picture of the turntable that was like the one I had when I was in high school. It was my best friend. Oh, it was to all of us, wasn't it? As a younger person, I think music is absolutely your best friend, isn't it? He says, the one I had was manual, did not have a record changer. That's the long spindle at the top where you used to load 5 or 6 records, didn't you? Well, his one didn't have a record changer. It was belt drive, made by BSR for Radio Shack, which of course here in the UK used to be Tandy, but I don't think they're here anymore. I think Tandy have gone, haven't they? I haven't seen a Tandy shop for years. And I used to love Tandy. Great shop. And back then, you could buy new albums where I worked for $4.95. That's £2.50. So you know where most of my paycheck went. And he sends a picture of the BSR turntable via MySpace. So thanks very much for that. I think it's Audio Freak there sent that one in. Alright, now where are we going now? How are we doing for time? Ian Scott. It's Ian, Scotty boy. And Ian writes, hi Chris once again, thanks for turning me onto the flip cam, which is how you're watching this program, my little flip cam miniature video camera type thing. Or should we really say, thank you little Jimmy, your nephew, because he's the first one who had this camera. It's him that mentioned it to me. I showed interest in it, and my sister went out and bought one for my birthday, my sister and her husband. Ian says, say now to him, otherwise little Jimmy will catch on and want commission for each flip cam sale. Ha ha, will you joke about that? I'm telling you what, he blooming well would and all. Jimmy is a bit of a businessman, he is. Oh yes, he sells stuffs on eBay. He had a row with it, and one day, no, he didn't have a row. I don't think he had a row. This wasn't to do with a row. One day, he got all the old stuff he didn't want, set out a table at the front of his house, okay? and sold stuff to people walking past. 10 years old he was then, or 9, one of the two. He's a businessman, I'm telling you now. He says, anyway, just a quick email and a link to my first camera shots with the flip cam on Tybee Island, Georgia, where I now live and listen to your show each week. And he sent me a little bit about Tybee Island, where Scotty lives. And he says, Tybee means salt to Native Americans, but the name of this low-key seaside resort now brings mind words such as sun, surf and fun. Located 18 miles east of Savannah, the small barrier island boasts a wide 3-mile-long beach, beautiful, that's backed by sea oat-covered sand dunes and is perfect for sunbathing, people watching and frolicking in the waves of the Atlantic Ocean. The island's South End Pier and Pavilion is a splendid venue for strolling above the ocean and listening to the music of the live bands. Although vacationers are lured to Tybee mainly because of what it provides in the way of recreation and relaxation, those with a love of history won't be disappointed. Tybee offers Fort Screven, the Tybee Island Lighthouse, dated, is it 1773? I think it is. I think it's 1773. An intriguing museum, and Fort Pulaska, which is just west of the island on Highway 80. While Tybee is a resort complete with a full range of restaurants, modern hotels, motels, luxurious condominiums, and quaint inns and cottages, it's also a residential area stocked with its share of colourful characters, including you, I think, Scotty. It's an atmosphere considerably more laid back than that of a glitzier, larger beach towns to the north and south. So thanks for telling us a little bit about where you live there, Ian. He said it would be cool if other listeners had similar cams, like flip cams or little video cams. How about this idea, Ian? And I like this idea very much. You could do a 3-minute video of where they live in the world and the places they listen to the show on. I know, more work for Chris, but it could be a nice end of show feature, like what you did when you was at your sister's. I like that idea, Ian. I do like that idea, so I'm going to ask you now, anyone with a little video camera, and it's starting to rain. Oh, we're not bad, we're nearly at the end of the show now. Let's stick the umbrella up and carry on, shall we? There we are. I might have to get a bit closer actually to you. Can you come closer, because you're not quite under the umbrella there, are you? 1 minute. My phone's getting wet as well. How's that? Do we need to? I'm going to just bring you a little bit closer there. 1 minute. That's it. Good job work the last part of the show, really. I think you are. You with me there, or what? Am I? Is my head too high up now? I don't know. 1 minute. Let's just move that up a bit. There we are. I do notice a little bit of water on the camera lens. 1 sec. Let's give that a little wipe there. Sorry about that. Sorry, we're nearly finished now anyway. Where's my email gone? That's it. That's it. Yes, quite like the idea of that one, Ian. So there we are. There's a little challenge for you. Anyone who's got a little video camera can record about 3 minutes of film, okay, about where you live and perhaps where you listen to the show, and send it through, okay? No more than about 3 minutes though, because we want to tack it on the end, and it's got to be. You're going to have to send it to me. I'm not quite sure how you send it. If you have a look, I think it's sendit.com. Try sendit.com, and there you can actually send people large files of up to 100k, I think. 1 gig. I think that's right. Have a look at sendit.com, or I think there's another one called Zshare or something like that. The technical amongst you will know exactly what I'm talking about. If you want to make a little video of where you are, about 3 minutes long, maybe a bit of chat as well, send it through, and I will tag it onto the end of the YouTube videos, the future YouTube videos, okay? So thanks for that nice little idea that, Ian. And he sent me a link to his video, and he says, as you can see from my flip video, it's a little jumpy in places, especially when I do a car tour of the island, driving and holding the cam at the same time. Guess I need to get a tripod or build an in-car cam mount for the flip. which he sent me instructions on how to actually make a mount for your camera in the car, which is great. You just go out and make these things rather than buy them, so much cheaper if you're that way inclined. I think I'd probably go out and try and buy one, to be honest. He said, saying that, it could be a cool idea for you, since you're looking for ideas all the time for your show. Since you've got your flip cam, it could be a new feature like On Tour with Chris's car cam. Eh, do we like that? Or if you're not in the car cam, how about a bicycle cam tour? Again, there's instructions how you can actually make a little mount to put the camera onto your bike. Any other listeners into this great little flip cam, please let us know. Okay, absolutely. Let us know if you like to muck about with little videos like that. Now, I'm going to give you the website where Ian's been doing little films. If you want to have a look at those, grab a pen. It's coming up now because it's nearly time for go. He says, bye for now. Keep up the great work, but stop mentioning British food, chocolates. Every time you mention them, it makes me feel homesick. Especially chocolates. Have you ever had American candle wax chocolate? No. He says, I'm not joking, they make great ice cream here, but when it comes to chocolate, forget it. Give me a bar of Cadbury's or Galaxy any day. I know what you mean. Right, the address is www.kdi-media.com/flip. Alright? Once again, www.kdi-media.com/flip, and that's the address. Still some emails to get through, I'm afraid. Joe and loads of people here. I've got to get them on the next show. Thanks for watching and listening as always. From myself, Chris Reardon, I'll see you on the next show. Bye bye now.